How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to show you what it's like to drive the all-new NISMO Z from a first-person point of view. Under the hood of the NISMO Z is a 3-liter twin-turbocharged V6 making 420 horsepower and 384 pound-feet of torque. That's up 20 horsepower over the standard Z and 34 pound-feet of torque. Now, unfortunately, the only transmission option available is the 9-speed automatic. There is no manual. That being said, this 9-speed auto is fantastic and it shifts 50% faster than the standard Z thanks to a bespoke Sport Plus mode in the NISMO. Personally, I think the new NISMO looks fantastic. We've got a larger front grille opening for additional cooling, but it just makes the front end of the car look a lot more impressive. We've also got the small vortex generators in the form of canards to the left and right of the bumper. I also love the red accent line signature of NISMO, which really spruces up the look of the car. Now, coming around to the side of the NISMO Z, we now have 19-inch raised wheels, which look really cool. It's almost no need to go aftermarket with wheels. Now, we've got Dunlop tires that are inspired by learnings from the Nissan GTR that are super sticky. We also have Akebono front 15-inch brakes with special pad material to reduce brake fade. You'll notice that red line carries along the side of the car and to the rear of the NISMO Z. Now at the back, we've got an enlarged rear spoiler that increases downforce and reduces drag at the same time. We've also got a cool new rear diffuser that looks really, really nice. I think they killed it with the looks of the NISMO Z. Honestly, I kind of wish the normal Z looked like this, but then, well, this wouldn't be quite as special. We've also got some elements of practicality with the NISMO Z. Go ahead and click this button here, and this rear hatch raises to the sky to unveil a very large amount of rear trunk space. Honestly, it's a really practical sports car. Checking out the interior of the NISMO Z, we've got these upgraded Recaro buckets that feel fantastic. They're comfortable and supportive, and they look really, really cool. We've got Alcantara on the steering wheel, which feels great in your hands, as does the steering wheel itself. Let's go ahead and hop inside. To turn on the new NISMO Z, we've got this anodized red start-stop button. Go ahead and fire up that twin-turbocharged 6-cylinder. Pretty cool graphics on the display, I'm not going to lie. Now, we've got different display options to choose from, which is pretty cool on this digital instrument cluster. If we click this button right here and we go to change meter view, this is sport mode, my favorite. We can go to normal, more of a conventional setup. Then we can go back, change meter mode, and then let's go to enhanced, which is another version that we can have up on the display. The paddles feel fantastic in your hands. Seriously, some of the best paddles in the business. This is the drive control unit right here. Slide it backwards to go into drive. That's park. If you pull it backwards, once again, after drive, it puts it into manual mode, so it activates those paddles. Then we've got this right here, the D mode, which is an interesting name. You can choose between standard, sport, and Sport Plus. Sport Plus results in 50% quicker shifts than the standard Nissan Z, and it results in 0 to 60 in 4 seconds and the quarter mile in 12 seconds. We got a nice touchscreen MMI system right here, which is easy to use. I also love the various gauges, makes it feel properly like a sports car. We've got USB-C and standard USB charging as well. Some extra storage space right here, a cup holder, and I like how you can reach to your stuff in the back of the vehicle. So, what is this thing actually like to drive? Well, let's take it on the road and find out. Behind the wheel of the NISMO Z now, and this thing is a handling monster. The acceleration is impressive, but the level of grip and communication in the steering is honestly what's really blown me away with this car. The standard NISMO Z is already impressive when it comes to its handling capabilities, but this is an entirely different level of performance. We've got those quicker spring rates, larger springs. They spent thousands of hours driving the Z on the track to redevelop the suspension and the steering setup, and the result is absolutely sublime. The level of communication in the steering wheel and feel is better than some 6-figure sports cars, and I really mean that. And honestly, the automatic transmission is incredibly responsive in this car. You'd think that only having an automatic would be a huge shortcoming, which to some degree I do wish this had a manual transmission. Of course, having a 3-pedal layout would be awesome. But this automatic transmission for having a torque converter is unbelievably impressive. The upshifts are instantaneous, as are the downshifts, and the actuation of these paddles feels absolutely fantastic. It's an easy car to drive fast. It gives you confidence around the turns. And honestly, the most important part is it's just an absolute blast to drive on tight, twisty roads. It puts a smile on your face. And I think that's what makes it worth every bit of its $65,000 base price. Other cars that come into play in this price range, you got the M2, we got the Mustang Dark Horse. And I know, you know, Ford people are Ford people and typically BMW people are BMW people, but if you are shopping for a car in that $65,000 price range and you're looking at those two others, consider driving this, because honestly, I think it'll impress you more than you'd originally anticipate. I know I didn't quite know what to expect driving the Nissan Z for the first time. I drove the Z out at Las Vegas on the press launch, and I was pleasantly surprised. And then once again, I'm impressed to another degree with the NISMO Z, because honestly, it handles very, very well. Now we're in Sport Plus mode right now. Let's go ahead, hit the D mode and put it back into standard. Toggle this back to put it into automatic. And it's also a very easy car to drive around town. The suspension is a little bit bumpy for normal road surfaces for daily driving, but honestly, an enthusiast like myself and like you guys watching is going to rather have a more exciting car to drive in twisty roads and slightly less comfortable on the street than make it super comfortable and then less good on the back roads. That's how it felt to me. The Supra, I owned a 2020 Supra, and that was a little bit more comfortable on the road, but it had more body roll and the steering wasn't all that great on back roads and on the track. So this is definitely what I would lean towards if I was going Supra or NISMO Z. Now they say there's no mechanical limitations of the manual transmission in terms of the torque output or the horsepower output of this engine. So I'm hoping enough people say, dude, we need a manual transmission, Nissan, and they end up doing that a year or two from now. No idea if that's actually going to happen or not, but it would be cool to see a manual transmission. Back where the Nissan Z belongs, in the canyons, and off we go. It honestly sounds really good too. And I love the shift indicator light up at the top of the tachometer to let you know when to shift. I just think it looks really cool, stylistically. Man, this is a good car. The induction noise is good as well. And that power is impressive. The mid-range torque is pretty ridiculous in this thing. Even in 4th gear, down low, it makes a lot of torque. I will say, these tires are a little bit squirrely in damp conditions, but in the dry, they have an insane amount of grip. And it's just a confidence-inspiring car. Nissan absolutely killed it with the Z. As you can see, I lost a little traction there with the wet. But man. And honestly, you don't even need to turn traction control off. The traction control management lets you slide a little bit in the standard mode, which I think is awesome. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next video, and I'll leave you with some uninterrupted NISMO exhaust.